All right, Jane, thank you. Well, NASA is ready for its next outer space mission. The Artemis 1 mission is scheduled to launch Monday morning. The unmanned space launch system rocket will carry the Orion spacecraft, which will go beyond the moon before it comes back to Earth. Now, Orion will travel farther than any other spacecraft built for humans has ever flown. Now, this mission is the first phase of a brand new program called Artemis. It's just going to pave the way for humans to go to the moon and beyond. Of course, that is a very historic mission, and it could be a dangerous one. Here to talk about the historic mission is NASA expert Dustin Gomer. Now, Dustin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here.
Now, Dustin is NASA's Orion Crew Survival Systems Project Manager, and actually you've been working on spacesuits for 2 decades now. I see a couple of spacesuits behind you there. Thanks so much for talking with us this morning. You know, this historic mission here is something we haven't really talked about, you know, sending humans to the moon, and I mean, well, since the first time we went to the moon. How's this different than previous missions?
I think the big difference is going to be the long-term presence we aim to build upon in the moon. With Apollo, we had a series of discrete missions. We collected lunar samples, and by the time the program ended, we hadn't yet built the infrastructure to stay on the moon. This time, the goal is from the get-go, build that sustained lunar presence on the moon, increase our footprint. And also increase the availability of the moon to the population of America with the first female on the moon, first persons of color on the moon. It's very exciting what we're about to build on.
Your focus is, of course, on survivability here and sending humans into space. How difficult is it to sustain human life outside of Earth?
It's really hard to put in words. There is nothing out there in space that's not hostile to human life. From the lack of air to the lack of pressure, radiation, the temperatures, everything is hostile to human life. And so that's a big part of this mission, is to test out some of those environmental control systems that we'll have in place in the vehicle. One of the things we'll be testing is in some capacities is the suit. As you can see hanging behind me, we'll have it on our mannequin, or moonikin, as we call him, Commander Moonikin Campos. You know, it's not just the being in space itself; it's the entry back from space, and so that landing is a pretty good bump, as is the launch. And so we'll be evaluating the metrics that we record from those, comparing them to our analyses, and ensuring that our crew, when we do launch Artemis 2, is completely safe and ready to go.
Technology has made astronomical advances since we first went to the moon. What's different about the suit now versus back then, or maybe point out 1 or 2 major differences?
Yeah, it's a funny question, but you know, in some ways it is so much more advanced, and in some ways it's exactly the same. At its fundamental core, I describe it to people as a body-shaped balloon. And that's what it always has been, and most likely always will be. The differences in suit technology from mission to mission are how it adapts to the vehicle and an environment. Each one is customized for its exact role. In our case, it's customized for that deep space mission where consumables are at a premium. In terms of the air available, we have to be able to sustain them up to 6 days in the suit. If something were to go wrong, that's no easy feat, especially now. Unlike Apollo, where it was all male astronauts of a very specific size range between 5'6" and 5'10", we're dealing with male and female, and we are dealing with folks who range from, say, 4'9" to 6'6". And so building on all those anthropometric differences and biological function differences for, you know, all the things you have to sustain over those 6 days is quite the challenge.
And of course, you've had so much experience with the NASA program, having been a systems engineer for space shuttle seats and suits before. This particular mission, as you mentioned, has the additional challenges of having a variety of different crew members, men and women of different heights and sizes. What's the most exciting part about this mission, planning for it, for you?
Yeah. Well, you know, something you touched on, we were able to take a clean slate approach, and when we started designing this suit and the capsule and the seat and the integration of it, And one of the very exciting things was that, you know, the female integration to suits was largely based on previously, can we make them work in a one-size-fits-all suit? And you know, it was always a compromise across the board in doing that. With this suit, we were able to take the clean slate approach and actually build a unique and custom female architecture suit. And in fact, that's what you see behind me now. But to get that perfection of fit, not only for the male astronauts, but the females as well. And it was kind of neat to have that opportunity, logistically speaking, to start from that clean slate. And it's really done wonders for our suit fitment, our suit capabilities on this mission, especially for that deep space survival.
Now, as we mentioned, phase 1 of the Artemis mission begins on Monday. How soon can we expect our human counterparts to the Moonikins to get back up into space?
I believe our current schedule shows us around mid-2024, so about 2 years is what we're looking at. And as soon as Artemis 1 launches and lands, I mean, everyone here hits the ground running with updates to the launch platform. The capsule is, I'm in the suit room right now at Kennedy Space Center in the operation and control facility. Right below me as we speak, they're building the Artemis 2 capsule, putting the finishing touches on bolting that together in every which way. And so we're going to start the integration to the stack and training of the crew. It's a lot of work. And when you think about it, to get all that accomplished in 2 years, it sounds like a long time, but it's going to be here very quick for us.
Thank you so much for your time today and for taking a break from the historic mission. We appreciate your time here. Speaking to us from Cape Canaveral, Florida, that's Dustin Gomert from NASA's Orion Artemis project. Thank you so much again. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having me.